I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't hear. That my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear the thoughts build up until I can't hear. That my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. Well, in the past 24 hours or so, CNN has surprisingly released a documentary, a special report that came out 9 years ago in 2016. It's about 42 minutes long, and I'll be telling you a little bit more about what I'll be doing in terms of that documentary in a moment. In this episode, I want to take you through something quite unusual. It's something I don't do very often on this channel, which is the tabloid narrative. And I want to take you through what the tabloids were saying way back in the end of 1996, throughout 1997, I think early 1998. You want to look at what tabloids like the Inquirer and the Globe was saying about the JonBenet Ramsey case, and keep an open mind. I mean, we all know that the tabloids aren't necessarily reliable, but what I want you to consider is how accurate they were they on the wrong track to begin with, were they on the right track to begin with. And I think they were off track here and there, but the question is, to what extent were they on track? Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. As I said earlier, I've was really surprised in the last about 24 hours or so. CNN released this special report. Believe it or not, I've actually never seen the full special report. I've seen some of the most important elements of it. I've seen snippets of it, but I've never really seen the full special report. So I'm going to be doing a analysis of that. I'm going to be doing basically the 10 biggest mistakes in that special report. It's actually a very good special report despite that title. And then I also want to share with you guys, while I was away on the Wild Coast, I just let my mind roam, and I wasn't really in a true crime space at all, and I was reading Stephen King books and going for long walks and just enjoying the open air. But towards the end of that period, I sort of gravitated back, strangely enough, to the JonBenet Ramsey case, and I just ended up reading a little bit of Perfect Murder, Perfect Town, and I really want to share some of the insights that I got from that process, probably in half a dozen or more episodes, so that should really be, I think, quite interesting. And it just shows you how, in even a 26-year-old case, almost 27 years old, you can still learn a lot, and you can still realize how dumb, in a way, our thinking has been for such a long time, that we haven't even begun to think properly about a case such as the JonBenet Ramsey case. If you're enjoying this episode, please like, share, leave a comment, and let's get started. So, as I alluded to earlier, in this analysis, I want to talk about the tabloids, and we may end up doing a run through perhaps twice of these tabloids. As I say, it's tabloids that are very close to the time of the JonBenet Ramsey, of the incident. And so the first one we're looking at is the Inquirer, Beauty Queen's Nightmare Life of SA. Beauty Queen Murder Confession, Daddy Destroyed Evidence. That's from the National Enquirer. Mom Dressed JonBenet After Murder. That's obviously an assumption they're making, because she was dressed after the murder. Then the next one, JonBenet's mom, Patsy Bears Her Soul. That's in the National Enquirer. Then the National Examiner, JonBenet, 10-year-old brother to flee country. That definitely seems to be quite speculative and imaginative, because I'm not sure if that ever happened. Then the next one from the National Examiner, police seize John Bonet ritual mask. I don't know what that's all about. Some of these articles you probably want to take a closer look at. John Bonet grand jury targets brother 11. And so that's from the National Enquirer. That's definitely an article we'd want to look at. And then new John Bonet autopsy evidence, mom and dad shielding brother 11. Then the next one, lipstick and fingerprints proved mom's lying. Then the Globe, and as far as I know, the Globe was actually sued by the Ramseys, I think successfully as well. Then the next one, John Bonet ran for her life to secret hiding place. That's from the National Examiner. Next one, Ramseys changed their story about murder night, from the National Enquirer. And so we might want to take a look at some of these articles in, in more detail. If you'd like me to do that, let me know in the comments. But I think you can see that there's kind of a theme surrounding almost all of these stories, and the theme is basically that the tabloid seems to suspect the Ramseys. Now, what do you think about that? Do you think the tabloids were all of these tabloids were all on the wrong track, right? Were they being the way tabloids often are, sensational and inaccurate? Or do you think they were inaccurate, completely inaccurate? And then the other question is, which member of the family do you think that the tabloids were gravitating towards? And as I say, all of this is from very, very early on. We're talking about 1997 is when most of these articles came out. And what I find so fascinating looking at the tabloid narrative is how much that narrative has changed in 26 going on 27 years. What are the tabloids saying now? What are the mainstream media saying these days? And I think it's a fair question. Has the narrative changed since 1996, 1997? And I think the answer is definitely it has. And then the question is, well, has it become more accurate or less accurate? Bearing in mind that this remains an unsolved case. And so you can't help asking, were the police, was the investigation, were the tabloids closer to the truth in 1997 than they are now? What do you think? Again, if you want me to look at some of these articles in more detail, let me know in the comments. Also, look out for that analysis of the CNN special report. I'll put a link to the 42-minute documentary in the description so you guys can watch it so long. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.